We welcome you back to Sebring International Raceway, the Visit Florida Grand Prix season opener of the Visit Florida Cup, the Star Mazda Championship. With Johnny O'Connell, I'm Rick Benjamin. Todd Lewis on pit road, and now Tristan Vautier starting to open up some real estate on Connor Daly, who led so much of this race.
You know, Connor was looking so strong, but you could see him just losing a little bit of rear traction when he was entering 15, but that time when Vautier got by, he got a little bit loose entering 13, and then on the exit of 13, and that's all the mistake that Vautier needed to get by.
Anders Krohn, a series veteran as well, young guy, of course, from Sweden. He's got to be licking his chops, seeing that Daly apparently has fallen off the pace.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's blood in the water to him, and all these guys are so hungry to do well. You know, Connor, I'm sure, is trying to focus with what might be a loose race car, how to change the style, drive it a little bit better. Vautier, meanwhile, in the front is doing what Connor was earlier, just looking ahead, trying to hit his marks, make no mistakes. Oh, you see him go off there.
Krohn way off. Wow.
Ran it in there a little bit hard. Hopefully he didn't mess up the under tray of his car there.
Take one more look at it here. Lock the brakes.
Yeah, no, actually, I think that was probably a bad down change because you saw him lose the rear end just at turn-in. Sometimes in these cars, if you leave your gear change a little bit late, that alone going down to that lower gear will initiate a little bit of a skid.
Krohn gets back on the racetrack in front of the 17 car. The car Michael Grenier started on the outside pole, but he loses a lot of track position. Well past the halfway point now, the Anderson team, Dan Anderson there on the right. Got to be happy with where their guys have run this weekend, but you don't want to lose track position at this point. After a dozen laps, here's where the Anderson drivers show 1, 3, 4, and then 9th and 20.
Yeah, you know what? But again, when you see that a team is running 5 cars, that's 5 cars that they can get data from. And, you know, and they're a strong team. They've won championships. So good talent, you know, whether it be from the States or Europe or you know, Central America, you know, that's the team that they want to talk to because they have the data to give you the good setup. And that's what these young guys need.
Visit Florida.com running order, top of your screen. Head to visitflorida.com, the official website of Florida Tourism. Find out more in time for your next vacation. There's the 17 car. Grenier lining up alongside Anders Krohn on the front row earlier today. Hasn't really been a factor for the race lead at this point, but it's a good battle for position a little bit further back. Krohn running third, Grenier running in the 4th spot. Let's get down to pit road. Todd Lewis.
27 car, Court Vernon making a pit stop. The car is misfiring. They'll have a look. They had problems with the fuel pump. They seem to have it going again and corrected. He'll send him back out, but it could be a long day for this member of Anderson Racing.
You know, isn't that always the way it is? You start bragging about a guy, and then one of his cars comes into the pits.
And certainly not the normal situation for one of the Anderson cars. Court Vernon, a young American driver of the Man Group Boats car, qualified 12th, had gotten up to 9th, but loses a lot of track position. And Grenier, way off the course. Everybody seems to be having trouble down here at 15 and 16.
You know what? You know, and just me running the racetrack, it's losing grip, okay? And particularly in 15, it's a very difficult entry, you know. And when you've got that guy in front of you, a lot of times your eyes are a little bit slow getting into the apex. And right now, that does seem to be giving, you know, most of these guys the hardest time on the racetrack.
Now, Grenier gets back on the racetrack, doesn't lose a lot of track position to Anders Krohn as they fight for third. The 9 car getting back in the mix. That's Jorge Goncalves. He sits back there in 5th right now. But if you're Grenier, you know time is starting to be a factor here. This is a timed event, 45 minutes of racing. You got to make your move.
Oh yeah, there is no being patient. You know, early on in the race, you know, you want to let it settle down a little bit. But as you see guys going away from you, guys making mistakes, you've got to be up at the front in order to make things happen. Right now, you see Connor Daly. I think he's just holding on. We got another problem here for all he's got.
Couple of cars off, heading onto the backstretch, and this may bring out a full course yellow. The 94 car, that's Hayden Durson. We talked about him earlier. The 28 machine, one of the cars involved in that incident, Juan Piedrahita. Let's take a look. This is Piedrahita's Team Apex on board. Oh, I see what happened. Durson went around in front of him.
Yeah, and all he did was lift to try to adjust and not run into him. You know, these cars are so sensitive to throttle control. All it takes when you're in the middle of a corner, if you lift off or snap off the throttle, you're going for a ride.
All right, so cars off in the grass. Durson refiring. Looks like the other car, Piedrahita's machine, has stalled there at turn 16. So that could bring out a full course yellow. We will see. Let's take the opportunity to get in a break here in the Visit Florida Grand Prix.